Alright guys, Black Temple here again. Moving on to part 2-ish, part 3-ish of the base. What we're going to be doing now is applying, just like we've done to these models, our bits of shell casings. And that does a couple of things. First thing it does is it adds more to look at. It makes it more interesting. It kind of really, with Cygnar especially since they have the most guns and stuff, it really ties in with the theme of the army. Now the next thing it does is, kind of advantageously, it will fill in places on the model's base where your coverage is not ideal. So what you can do is take a little bit of glue on a toothpick here and just drop glue wherever I'd like to place a shell. Now, really, I'm putting it anywhere where there's a small opening or there's a small gap, anywhere where there's a little bit of space that doesn't need to be there, and then of course putting it in places where the shells will look good as well. So just gonna have a couple of different spots, and since the glue dries clear, you can put it pretty much everywhere. I'm just going to turn off the autofocus again. You can pretty much put it anywhere, and you don't have to worry about it gluing in sort of an awkward position. So trying to be at least a little bit random, but at the same time paying attention to filling in areas that you want, of course, you want to not be showing. So the next part we're going to need is a very specific product, and that is these beads. I got these from Walmart. They were like $1 for 100, and they are just shell casing little shaped beads. Now what you do, or what I do, is get a couple of them out like I'm doing here and just pour them in this little cap so you don't spill everything everywhere, because I did that the first time. And then grab your toothpick, slip one of them on the end of the toothpick, so now you got one on there. And then just come into the model, press it down into the glue, and drag the toothpick out. There you go. Just do that over and over a couple times. You could use tweezers. Tweezers work equally fine. This I find is this I have discovered is a little bit quicker, especially since the toothpick is round and the cylinders are round, obviously, so you don't have to worry about if you got a grip on something or not. Okay, just put one in the middle there. And like I said, since this stuff dries clear, the shells won't look like they're flying or anything, especially since you put glue right up against the rocks, so you don't have to worry about the shells gluing in sort of an awkward position. And you don't want to put too many, because then the base will look like it's pretty much only shells, and you're not after that. You want it to be terrain and rocks and bits of horrible. So, and like I have here, I have one that's kind of up against the leg or the foot. I'm going to curve it slightly, because you don't want everything to be uniform, you don't want everything to be lined up, so you want things to look kind of random and, you know, natural. And shells, for the most part, don't just fall perfectly next to things. They very well could, but from my point of view, they're not in this general area. So we got a bunch down there. I'm going to put one more because I see a spot where I want to put just one more. Grab the glue, using the opposite end. Put up some glue. I see one spot just here in the front that I think one would do really well in. There you go. Wipe the stick off, toothpick off. Grab me a shell, and then put it right there. Manipulate it slightly with my finger. There we go. So now what we're going to get into is doing those shoulder pads and doing these bolts. kind of just a bunch of parts of silver for right now, since I got the silver sitting right here. Give it a good old shake. Set that on down. Where's my towel? I have one towel that I use for all of this. It's like a painting towel. I've used it since day one. Been washed a couple dozen times, but for the most part, I enjoy using it because it's readily available all the time, pretty much. Paper towels, you tend to run out of them and stuff. So, real lightly, just bouncing along this edge, this border with the silver. Finding 2 points of contact on the model, and that's just, I haven't actually gone over that. So when you got your brush, this hobby tends to take a lot of stability in your hand and a lot of control, kind of like being a tattoo artist. Definitely not that. Definitely not that spectacular of an occupation, but still takes that kind of control. So after I turn my phone off, because people would insist on talking to me while I'm busy. Go away! I don't want you right now. Take your boobs somewhere else. Painting a miniature. Oh god, there's no hope for me. So anyways, what you want to do is, you got your brush here, got the model. Generally, you would put like a bottle cap or something on here so you could hold on to this instead of the base, but since this base is huge, I went ahead and go. I don't usually do that for War Machine. So, put your finger one place, and then put your pinky or your opposite finger in another place. So now you're pressed up against it and you have complete control. You're not wobbling. You can see the brush isn't moving at all, and you're completely steady. And that will give you a nice straight edge and straight finish and real controlled edge. And generally you want to do that. You want to find 2 places on the model where you can put your fingers to keep you really steady. And that just made it louder. The fuck? Throwing the phone to the iPhone. So, got that one shoulder pad done reasonably for now. I'll go ahead and do the second one. Make sure I'm in the lens, y'all. In the frame, as it were. Now, I've done a couple of things wrong in this series of videos, and I recognize that. I don't want to say this whole thing was half-assed, because it certainly wasn't. I put some time and effort into this, but I didn't plan it out as well as I could have, I'd say. So I'm actually got in the works a list of things that I've messed up, and after this entire series is over, I'm going to make a video highlighting all the things that I can do better. I'm taking notes of things that I can do better. So I'm assuming, because a lot of people enjoyed this stuff, that I'm probably going to be doing it again. And so the next time we do this, I want it to be better. You should always try and improve on everything. Everything. So, 8 minutes in, so I'm pretty good on time. This edge seems like it was a little bit bigger for some reason. Real slow. Take things real slow. There's no hurry. I mean, if you take a look at how fast we've done this whole thing, we've done about, let's see, 7 videos. Each one's 15 minutes. That's not very long. Usually this stuff takes a lot longer, trust me. And so, I mean, got all the time in the world. This is a hobby. This isn't a job for me. So I got all the time in the world to do this. So got that bolt painted up. On the top at least. Now I gotta do the sides. Because bolts are not a single dimension object. They have depth as well. So we gotta make sure we take that into account for it to look realistic. There we go. Just make my way real slowly around the edges, making sure you can see, of course. Now the middle part, we're going to want to leave black, so we'll skip that. And roll over just this inside. Just like that. Now we got a finished bolt. Or it actually might be a big screw. I don't even know. So anyways, we can do now this grip. The grip of the actual weapon is going to be a silvery color. So I'm just going to dry brush over it real quick. I just grab some paint and wipe most of it off. Got a little bit too much on there still, so I'm going to take some water. Just take some water and wipe it on there. And get most of it off, because I wasn't satisfied with that first go over. And that's the beauty of it. Like with drawing, you have an eraser. With this, you have water and a brush, of course. If you don't like it, or if something comes out to not exactly to your specifications, then you can just wash it off right quick. That's what I'm doing right now also, by the way. You can't see me, but I got it next to the paper towel. Just rinsing the paint off real quick. Okay. So doing this underside. There we are. Having most of the paint come off before I actually go to the model with it. Probably gonna have to redo that. Doesn't look as well as I planned or hoped. That first time I went through, I had way too much paint on the brush. That's okay though. Just go over the whole thing with it and make it all at least a uniform. Make it all one color. And then here's what we'll do. So we got the silver on there now. We've kind of overcoated it with silver instead of dry brushing it. And what we can do, since paint is a pretty flexible medium, unlike drawing, you can use different colors to exaggerate certain effects. So here's what we're going to do. Got the black undercoat, right? We got the black underneath. We put silver on it, but we put too much silver. Well, I put too much silver, not you. I put too much silver. So what we're going to do, to re-exaggerate the black, I'm going to take some black, dip it in some water, make it real wet, and then we're going to apply it just over everything we just did. So that way, the silver will look more silver, and the black will be back down. So it'll look like the silver is actually on top of the black, like it was originally supposed to look. Just like that there. But since I messed that up, I had to take a step backwards a little bit. So this side's a little bit heavy. Just knock that down. So now we got a silver grip. How it's supposed to look. Okie dokie. So looking at some stuff to see what maybe we can touch something up right now, because we got a couple of minutes, a couple of real short minutes. We can go ahead and stop here. So we got the shoulder pads almost done. We've got the actual arm itself almost completely base coated. I think we just got to get, yeah, there's a spot underneath here. I'll probably get that off camera. So we can say that this arm is completely base coated with everything. And the base is almost done. We just got to do, like I have on the, oop, fucking dropping everything. Like I got on these models. Got this blue. These two different blues to designate the 180-degree arcs. We just got to do that on the base, and then it should be done. So this has been Black Templar. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, and cheers.